My mom always said life was like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get.
Hey folks. Okay. I'm going to cover another one by Kerouac. In fact, I've got a few of them that I'm going to go through, but this one is, again, pretty short. He says, "My fault and failure is not in my passions, but in my lack of control over them." Yeah, I know exactly what he's talking about. It's so difficult to learn to control your own passions and not make a fool of yourself at times, or really, even if you didn't care whether you made a fool of yourself, you could literally hurt yourself or somebody else because maybe of the exuberance that you display in your passions. I think of an example. I love watching videos of these guys that do these, I can't remember what it's called, they do base jumping, but they're wearing these flight suits where they're flying down through these valleys and crevices and stuff like that. And I sometimes it's literally hard to watch because they are in a constant near to death experience where they are literally living at the height of their existence. Adrenaline is pumping. They're doing something that nobody else has ever done or few have ever done. And it is just mind-boggling to watch. Scary. I was watching one the other day, and this guy flew down through this valley, and he's got his wingsuit on, and he's got his arms out, and each hand is almost touching the rock wall on each side of him. Whew. I almost couldn't watch. I was just like, oh, this guy's gonna die. And they do. Those people plant themselves into the side of a rock wall, and there's just a splat on the wall like a bug hitting the windshield. Scary. But they do it. And of course, you could be that bug hitting the windshield if you don't control your passions. I had a buddy of mine. He literally, he would egg people on. He loved to fight. And it wasn't that he was, so bad at it. The real problem is that there were so many other people that were better at it than he was. Sorry, I got pinged on my email. They're like, hey, we need you to answer something right this second. Of course, when I'm in the middle of something. And anyway, the problem was he not a big guy, and so he'd often get into situations, especially when it came to women, where he would make somebody mad. More than once I had to pull him out of the repercussions of his passions. Funny guy. Or get in the middle between him and somebody who was larger and better skilled. And, you know, this was back before, you know, the days of jiu-jitsu, where so many people are so highly trained now. You know, back in the day when I was in high school, and, you know, at that time I was, you know, 6'2", 225, maybe more, maybe up to 250. I was a farm boy and so heavily muscled, and so I would step in to protect my friend. And finally, you know, I had to have a real sit-down talk with him because, you know, some people came at me, and not just one at a time, but multiple. And I barely got out of there with, you know, with my head still on a swivel. Anyway, funny stuff. Things you do when you're kids, right? The older you get, hopefully you learn how to control your passions. But it doesn't always happen. I know for my friend, he still has not controlled his passions very well, and he probably never will. But I look forward to hanging out with him. Just because you never know what we're going to get into. And now both of us, almost 60 years old. Ah, funny. Anyway, Kerouac. His fault and failure is not in his passions, but in his lack of control over them. Man, humanity in a nutshell, shall we say. Anyway, I'll leave it at that. I'll chat with you later. Bye.